enthusiasts, and welcome to Scaled Affairs, the show where I take a closer look on anime figures of all sorts. So sit back and relax while I'll tell you what's maybe worth adding to your collection. Today's figure is a dragoon from the Spoke Zarathustra, or AC for short, lineup. This is now my third Myethos figure, and I start to believe that they might all come in those clear plastic boxes, and that's fine with me because I like this method of packing a figure, but I have to admit that this one feels a bit too transparent. In fact, you can barely see a difference between the figure in its box and when I unboxed her. The blister itself feels very quality, and since they choose not only to pack all the accessories but also have base vertically in a separate layer in the back, they also achieved a very narrow box size. Still, I wished for a bit more colored inlays, because in a box like this you can also see all the protective foil and foam, and that doesn't look that great. When unpacking her, I was immediately excited about her positive feedbacks because of figure photo reasons, and also her stylized looking base. This black stone pattern has a slight shimmer to it, and it almost looks like the platform is made out of slate. Plus the little plaque in front tells you her class or job, I guess. Well, I will be honest with you guys, I only bought this figure because she looked cool and was fairly priced. I have no idea about the source material, if there even is one. All I could find out is this AC liner characters come to life based on the illustrations of an artist with the pen name Neko, spelled with a C. But honestly, who needs hype or source material if you can get a cool looking figure that tall with some badass looking weapons for under 30,000 yen? On the right side I've summarized some of this figure's key specs. And the core features don't stop here. In addition to a stellar base and some fine details, more about that later, D also gives you the choice of displaying her in two different configurations. One where she's holding the two parts of her spear, and one where the two parts are connected for an even longer weapon. If you display her like that, it could be a bit of a hassle since it takes up quite some real estate in your showcase, but luckily you can tilt this tailpipe by almost 90 degrees. I don't know how accurate a style like this would be, but I think it looks cool, and honestly I can't think of any other scale figures where you can freely adjust weapon parts. Feels almost like a Gunpla. And if you don't have enough space or for some reason don't like the look of the spear, you can even switch out the hands and remove it completely without it looking silly. Granted, this is not the most vibrant model, and where other AC characters at least had a splash of color with their hairstyle, D is definitely the most monochrome of them all, but it makes the little color there is pop even more, and despite a relative simple paint job, there are great details like those zippers and the fine graphic on the badges and military equipment. Also, all the weapon parts have a metal finish to them. My highlights are without a doubt the chest area where all the strings and snap links come together while a tie is floating in the wind, and also this part of her weapon that almost looks like a futuristic gun, or maybe it is even some sort of gun blade. Like I said, I know nothing about this character other than she will make a great model in one of my photos. Despite being a relatively tall figure, her head and facial area is a bit smaller than you would assume from a 1:7 scale, but I guess it's because of the more mature and realistic art style. Still, her eyes miss depth in my opinion, and the hair strains that peep out from under her hoodie are a bit lackluster. The expression itself might be fitting, but compared to everything else, D's face is definitely on the weaker side. In conclusion, this simply standing figure is another example that you don't have to overpay for elaborate base design or gimmicky stuff when all you really want is a nice tall representation of your favorite character. I'm not sure how popular those Zarathustra characters are, but I kinda like their overall modern militaristic style combined with basic weapon types like swords and crossbows. I'm not really the type of collector who strictly only buys stuff he knows or is a fan of. I rather buy things that look cool and where I immediately have a setup for a figure photo in mind. Also, I want to keep my collection as diverse as possible, and this dark hooded character is definitely an eye-catcher in a showcase otherwise filled with pastel cute moe stuff. Myethos as a manufacturer continues to surprise me when it comes to quality and honestly also price. Next time another Nendo that is, well, at least new to me. So be sure you don't miss the next episode of Scaled Affairs when I once again take a closer look on anime figures of all sorts. Hopefully I can see you again in the future. Until then, take care and keep collecting.